50 to 55. So they do they do live. It's a female. The little one is a female with the twistiest tail I've ever seen. It looks like a corkscrew. Did somebody step on your tail by any chance when you were little? Oh, it's a proper break. Twirly tail. What you doing, twirly tail? So they do have long lifespans. They do have incredible brains. It's 3 times the size of a human being's brain. Obviously, proportionately, we have the larger brain, but theirs is 3 times the size of ours. Tremendous instincts, tremendous wisdom, and a tremendous capacity to learn. I'm going to sit here and be entertained by this baby elephant for a bit longer. Let's go back to Shadow and have a look at the weather conditions surrounding her.
Well, it's getting cloudier and darker and colder and noisier with thunder. So Senzo behind me here is saying it's not going to rain, but the weather forecasts, from what I can gather from Lou, is that we are going to experience rain today and a thunderstorm. They're predicting 11 millimeters, but all we need is 20, and then I'll be on the money and I'll be a very, very happy individual, because that means that the rest of the crew will all owe me a 6-pack of apple juice, which will just be perfect. It'll be a wonderful way to spend the day. But now Shadow is calling a lot. She's talking to her cub quite a bit, lots of chuffing. You hear her? So she's talking to the cub now. She went back up the tree to look for last scraps, but there's nothing. So I don't know if she's trying to call the cub to tell her cub that we're going now, it's time to leave this area. But let's see, it'll be interesting how it plays out. No, Shadow, where are you going? This is all very awkward at this stage. I wonder. The cub hasn't responded. The cub is just looking at Mom with this look of absolute disgrace that Mom finished everything without letting her have any. So I think she's now spotted the cub, so maybe she'll stop calling. I don't know. It's going to be interesting, but I'm pretty sure as she comes down, that's going to be the end of it. She's not going to end up in a situation where she's going to stick around where there's been a carcass. She'll find that generally what they do is as soon as they're in a situation where there is no more food, then that's when they try and sort of start making their way out of there and try and get somewhere else. The animals won't really hide when there's thunder, but they certainly won't sit right out in the open and get absolutely pelted by rain. So what they'll generally do is try and get into a thicket somewhere, go into an area where there's at least some cover, that they don't get sort of hit by rain constantly. You know, the cats are never a firm fan of being wet, and so they always look so miserable when it rains, unless of course there's an opportunity to hunt. I have seen cats hunting in rain quite regularly, but lightning, if it starts really crashing down close to them, I would imagine they will find somewhere where it at least feels a little bit more secure than walking right out in the open. Although I once had the most amazing sighting of Birmingham boys, 2 of them, that were at a dam on Little Gowrie called Treehouse Dam, and we had this insane thunderstorm that arrived one evening. It came rolling in from the south, and it was just this bank of black clouds, and there was lightning just crashing down in every direction, and these 2 males just sat right in the open on this dam wall basically and just watched this lightning rolling in, and they didn't move, they didn't go for cover or anything. And only when the wind really picked up and there was dust flying past them and it almost looked as though they were going to get swept off the dam wall themselves did they get up and start heading for a bit of cover. But it was just the most incredible scene of these male lions just facing into the storm and lightning crashing everywhere. I'll try and find the photos that I took of it and post them at some point so that you can see. I'll put it onto Twitter or something like that. But it was really quite something. I can't remember what I did with those photos. I did have them on my phone at one point, but it was ridiculous at one point. Right, now Shadow is slowly going off towards her cub. We might reposition just to see what happens. And while we do that, I believe Jamie has a battle of epic proportions in the baby elephant world.
This is just utterly adorable. It is so cute. The two of them are such characters. And this little female, she just is desperately... Oh, I love that sound. Sorry, I went quiet so that you could hear the rumbles as one of the larger females calls the rest of her family to come across the road. But this little one just wants the older boy to play with her, and he just is ignoring her, and she's getting more and more frustrated, and she keeps chasing up to him and then smacking him with her bottom and walking backwards into him like she's doing right now. Play with me. Oh, did your mom leave without you? Oh, sudden panic. Panic, panic, panic. Where's mom? Where's mom? Is that my mom? I think that's my mom. Mom. Oh, this world is so exciting. Wait, I'm going to go back. No, I've changed my mind. I'm going to go this way. Oh, there's so many exciting things to smell and do. And wait, where's my friend? I'm going to go back for my friend. But then I'm going to get left behind. No, wait, I don't want to be left behind. Oh, there he is. He's come to join me. Okay. Wait for me. Wait, I'll go back for my friend. Oh, there he is. Oh. I found a termite mound. Height advantage. Oh, that collision was priceless. Absolutely priceless. They are going to go walking across the road, unfortunately just in front of me, and there's a couple of other people that have come to view them as well, so we're going to lose sight of them shortly, but this has just been too precious. Oh, where's my friend gone? Which way are you going, little girl? Maritza, I would say that one's close to a year, one's about a year and a half or so. So you're looking somewhere, in fact, somewhere around a year and a half, the older one. The younger one might be a little bit younger. Let us try. Dave, let us try for one more glimpse, but I think oh, sorry. Could have given you a bit more warning than that. Let's go quickly because I can still see them. No, about a year and a half seems about right. They're very coordinated. This is going to be the last view, just so that you know. This will be the last view of them. We have got one more quick glimpse as they play backwards and forwards. Alright. Okay, last view as our elephants disappear towards the forest. It's been a morning of cuteness. Let's go back to the lovely Shadow and her cute little girl.
Well, it has been, and look at this now. The two of them are grooming each other, so all is forgiven between mom and daughter. There's been growling that we've seen today when it was food, but now that food is finished, there's now the loving side of the two of them, and they're just grooming each other, getting rid of any little bits of meat that might still be on their coats, making sure that they're nice and clean. Little cub getting his ears cleaned, or her ears should I say. And the two of them are really just having a wonderful time together. It's not just the most beautiful thing to watch a mother and cub sort of groom each other and go nose to nose like this, and look at the little one. Like I say, all is forgiven. And there's a bit of love from mom, everything can be forgiven. That cub, I'm sure once they've groomed like this, we're going to see them getting up and moving. It's a typical thing after a carcass is groom and then start to get out, go and probably drink before a storm rolls in, and then once the storm comes, go and find a little bit of a thicket and just take it easy from there. So look, the little one's trying to scratch, but mom was licking where it was scratching. That was quite funny. Beautiful though, isn't it, to see the two of them together like that. Such a wonderful thing to see. Like I say, we're spoiled when we get to see leopards and to see interaction between a cub and a mother. You know, in a lot of places in the world, this is just unheard of, to spend time like this with a leopard one, and then to sit and see it and its cubs so close together really is not something that many people get to see. We're so fortunate that we here in the Sabi Sands, and there's a couple other places spread across the world, that you do get to see interaction like this, and to be able to spend time with a mom and cub so close and watch the two of them really is special. Now, we might have a bit of an intruder that's coming in from the left-hand side, and it's not anything that the leopards need to worry about. There's a massive giraffe bull that is starting to come in. Unfortunately, we can't put him on camera just yet because he's quite well hidden, but he is slowly angling towards this area, so I'm hoping he will come out as well. But a very big giraffe, dark in coloration, and is walking just past the hyena den, and hopefully will come into this particular section and we'll be able to see them together. It'd be nice to have spots, and small spots and large spots. Tanya, who's 7 years old, wants to know how big are leopard cubs when they're born. Well, Tanya, they are tiny. They look like small little animals, and they are only probably weighing, I would say, about 500 grams, even less maybe. They're small, they're like this big, so they have tiny little heads, small little legs, and a little tail that comes off, so it's a small little furry ball of cuteness that is born. And they can't see when they're first born, so their eyes are closed, and these little round ears, and then they grow quite quickly after that. The first 3 months they grow quite fast because they're getting a lot of mom's milk, which is very nutrient rich, and that means that they get fat quite quickly because the milk is quite fatty, and so they get big and puffy and they grow quite fast, and then they slow up in terms of their growing from there. But they are very small, like I say, about that size, with a little tail that comes off and little round ears. So very cute when they are still small, and that's why they have such a problem with other predators, is that they have a situation where they've got, hyenas and lions and leopards and all of those, and they're defenseless, and mom has to go off and hunt because mom is a single mother. She can't sit with the dad for long periods, so she has to then go off and hunt and try and find somewhere else to find food, and leaves the cubs then exposed to themselves, which is why it's dangerous. But now this little cub, you can see, is already quite big in comparison to what I was just describing now. Oh, look at that, look at the two of them. Like I say, I always love when we see moments like this, because as much as it's great to see the high action and chasing and hunting and all of that kind of thing from leopards, this is just as special to me, watching a mother and cub just kind of bond and spend time together, especially with Shadow and Cub. We get so few glimpses of the two of them. There's been such limited sort of access to this cub, and it's just such a privilege and a pleasure to be able to spend time with them and watch them interact and watch them bond and form this tight bond that they have together. And see how Shadow's cub, though, is getting rid of a lot of the ticks that Shadow's got around the backs of her ears. Every now and then you'll see her pulling quite heavily with her teeth. It's like she grips, and particularly around the ears. I was watching her just now doing it, and around her ears she was really kind of getting stuck in there, and she was pulling right up against Shadow's ears. And I'm sure there was a tick that Shadow had that she was busy trying to get off her mom, and making sure that mom was just in good condition and that she doesn't have any issues, and that she can keep nice and clean. So same way that mom does it for her, she's doing it for herself as well. Well, to her mom, and making sure that her mom is groomed and that those ears don't get any tattier than what they are. So you see there, she's biting and pulling. There we go. She must have got a tick there. Proud cat mama. The roughness on the tongue is exactly the same, so it's very similar to a domestic cat. It's very rough, and they need that because it basically acts like a comb. It gets rid of any loose fur, it gets rid of all the meat that's on their claws and around their face, and ticks like this. So you can see as that cub was grooming, getting rid of any little ticks. Oh, look at this. What are you doing, little one? You can't put your tail on your mom's head. Now they're just sitting opposite one another. So I think grooming time is almost done, and we'll see what Shadow does, because Shadow's going to be the instigator. If Shadow decides to move, then they will both go together. She'll call the cub, unless she decides that this is where she wants to leave the cub and she's going to go off hunting again. But given that she's got quite a full belly, I would imagine that we're going to see a situation where they're just going to rest up for the day. I don't think we're going to see them moving too far. I think it's all going to be about a little bit of water and then taking it very easy for the rest of the morning. No, grooming time's not finished just yet. Look at the little cub. It's like, no mom, not on the face. I don't want to. It's almost like when you're a child and you have to go to school and you have to brush your hair. It's the exact same kind of face that little leopard cub pulled. Now you hear her, she is making a bit of a sort of contact call sound. So I wonder if she's not going to start moving and taking this cub with her now. You hear the little cub talking back. The little cub was squeaking back. Now let's see if they have another little conversation. How cute is this? The little one is talking away, and there we go. Just like I thought, we'll be up and moving now. I'm pretty sure we're going to head towards Treehouse Dam. I'd be surprised if we don't. Might be one last look around the tree to see if there isn't signs of any more food for Shadow, and then I think from there off we're going to go towards the dam. Grey leopards will require water pretty much daily, depending on also temperature and environment and all of that kind of thing, but generally daily is when they will require water. They will have a situation that they need water as much as possible, and after a carcass like this they're going to need quite a bit just to try and keep themselves sustained after a sort of time of eating, and their body is working quite hard in order to try and sort of digest this meat and to try and get a situation. Oh, come on, Rusty. No, Rusty doesn't want to go. So we're going to have to go into low range with Rusty, which for some reason, because it's not exactly a big monkey orange that we're in at the moment, and so it should come off fairly easily. Why won't you go over, Rusty? So Rusty was just caught up for a second, and this is why I hate monkey oranges, is because monkey oranges are like this. You get a situation where they just get caught up in everything, and because they're quite spiny, they often will grab onto anything that you've got. So like a little steering arm or a tire or anything like that, they'll grab onto it, and then they start kind of holding there, and you've got to kind of go back and forth to try and get off it again. Now I'm just trying to see where the two of them are. Can you see them, Senzo? Okay, good. So I can't see them at the moment, but Senzo says he can see them. Are they still moving, Senzo, or are they lay down? Still moving. There they are. I can see them now. So I'm pretty sure, like I say, we're going to Treehouse Dam. I would be very, 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 very surprised if we don't head in that way, because the direction we're heading is straight there. Pretty much if we follow this line that I'm on now, we're going to get to the dam itself. So it's going to take some time. It's not going to be a quick process to get there. It's not exactly that close, so we will have to follow them for quite a while until we do get anywhere near that area, but it's going to be worth following and seeing if we do pop out that side. And I wonder if Hosanna is still around. I believe there was an update that Hosanna was at Treehouse Dam last night, so I wonder if he's not still in this area. See, look at Shadow, she's scent marking. So she's just making sure everybody knows this is my area. She was kicking back soil, and she's going to urinate, and the cub doesn't care that mom is scent marking on serious business. Cub is wanting to play, and so she'll urinate, and that urine is now going to soak into the soil, and it's going to last a lot longer. Had she just urinated on the grass, it would dry quite quickly and would probably not last nearly as long as if she had a situation like that where she scraped and then marked on top of where she scraped. Now this is going to be quite dense and quite thick, as you can see. It's a wall of trees in front, so I'm going to try and keep up with them and not spook them too much by following too close. And so while I do that, let's go to Jamie, who's still bumbling about in the Masai Mara, and hopefully there'll be a surprise around the corner soon.
While Shadow and her cub head off to Treehouse Dam to quench their thirst after a hearty meal, we've got some hearty buffalo. That was an interesting link. I don't know where that came from. I'm finding more and more that whenever I'm linking to another presenter, it either goes well or it goes completely off the rails, and then you keep talking to try and fix it, and then you just dig yourself into a deeper hole. A prime example would be when I was trying to link to Tayla with a heron from wallowing hyenas. And yesterday morning on the Sunrise Safari, it just turned disastrous. It just happens. Sometimes that old brain, the brain cylinder is not firing on all cylinders. imagine it's quite entertaining though. For those of you that have watched us for a very, very long time, you can kind of see when that derailing, oh, there it goes, it's gone. It's off the tracks. It's off the tracks, and then you just have to kind of let it go. It's a bad job. I just always feel sorry for the directors. Cheryl, you want to know how many indigenous tribes are in the Mara? I will confess that I haven't had the time to properly explore exactly the complex cultural aspect that there is to this area. It's obviously called the Masai Mara for a reason. It is the land of the Maasai. And the Maasai are a particularly, it's a large group of people. And from what I understand, and forgive me, I'm speaking from a position of, I wouldn't call total ignorance, but I'm probably not the best person to ask on this. I think the person to really ask is one of our local staff, Manu, of course, who's lived in Kenya all his life. My understanding is that the Maasai, whilst they are Kenyan in this area, consider themselves first to be Maasai, which means that the capital of the Maasai tribe is a place called Narok. And they don't really recognize the border between Kenya and Tanzania because it continues to be Maasai land. Now this whole area has been shaped by the farming of, and we'll stop and have a look at the impala while we do this. Hi! This whole area has been shaped by the Maasai and their cattle. Cattle obviously have huge cultural significance to the Maasai. There is an intrinsic distrust of banks, and basically your livelihood is measured in cows. It's a very complex culture, it's a very interesting culture, and it's one that I'm really looking forward to learning more about. There are a large number of different sort of tribes within Kenya, some of them much, much more numerous than others. And obviously that plays a huge role in political situations as well, from my understanding. Again, I'm always hesitant to give a perspective. It's a very much an outsider perspective. It's from living here, from reading up about it, from chatting to Manu. But there's some interesting. It is very interesting, and it plays an enormous role. And remember that when our Western societies came in and carved up Africa as we wanted to, and that was yours Belgium, and that was yours France, and that's yours England, and that's yours to the Dutch and the Portuguese, nobody ever sat with the local people. Not that they, obviously they treated them absolutely terribly, and as a result a lot of the enormous political ramifications continue today because they broke up countries. Random border. This is a border. Like with the Maasai, this is a border. That is Tanzania, this is Kenya. And the Maasai are spread across both countries. And it caused enormous trouble where you've got a country made up of... They've got a border where across the country border, they consider those people to be their tribesmen, but involved in their same country is a tribe that they are in no way related to and perhaps have been at war with for a long time. So it's complicated. And we could probably chat about it and have a discussion and a debate about it all day, because it goes throughout Africa's history in general. But I'm not going to do that because we might get a little bit dark and dreary at times. Let's go to Tayla for some entertaining humor.
That's all I've got to offer today, Jamie, because if I had said, today I want to look for hippos, I would drive the entire stretch of the Mara River and not see one hippo. That's the kind of day that I'm having. I'm repelling the animals. Oh well. But yes, so hopefully I'll keep you entertained. Now, there was a question from Josh, and that was, have you seen a millipede in the Mara yet? And you won't believe it, Josh, I was actually thinking about that yesterday as I was walking down to the vehicles. I don't know why, I just thought, I've not seen a millipede yet. So, there's my answer. I have not. Where are they? Well, I'm sure they must be here. I can't see any reason why they wouldn't be here. Maybe the elevation? I don't know. Maybe that could be a reason, but I highly doubt it because there's so much other insect life around. So yeah. But it would be nice to see some Kenyan mildreds. I don't think they would call them mildreds here though. We'd have to try and find out. Actually, Manu, Remember how I was telling you the story about what we call millipedes in South Africa, shongololos? I love that word, shongololo. And Manu found that quite interesting. So Manu, what is the traditional, is there a traditional word or one of the dialects here in Kenya other than a millipede?
Other than a millipede. Anything else?
Yeah, what do they call it? Anything else? Like we have shongololo. I call them mildreds as well. Or does everyone just say millipede?
Yeah, mostly.
Mostly. Okay. Well, should we come up with one? We'll have to think of a good one. One day. We'll see. Maybe my creative juices will come up with something. Otherwise, if you can think of a cool word that we could call millipedes up here in Kenya, you can hashtag Safari Live. Give it a bash. So it seems as though Shadow and her little one have gone on a mid-morning stroll. I wonder which way they're heading.
Well, at this stage we're heading away from Treehouse Dam more and more and more. We're now heading more in a westerly direction, so I don't think we're going to go to the dam, and we're going to head into an area that's going to be quite tough to follow them, but at least we still got a beautiful view of them kind of just in front of us. She's just stopped, and almost as though she spotted something, because the tail is starting to move. The little one is busy playing and taking it easy and rubbing up on Mom every opportunity it can get. But isn't that beautiful, seeing the two of them kind of together? And look at the little one's tail. It doesn't stop. It's always all over the show. It's far more uncontrolled than what Shadows is. Shadows has got a lot more control to it. And here we go. The little one's going to come up. Oh. Are you going to come say hello to your mom? No. Mom gave her one look and was almost like, nope, I'm not going to come any closer. There we go. And off they stride. I wonder where she's going. I was dead sure they were going to go for water, but maybe she's taking a very roundabout route because of the fact that the sticks were around, or maybe she bumped into Hosanna last night, and to protect the cubs, she's not heading down towards that area. She's going to take it deeper towards where she knows it's going to be safe. So we're heading far more west, and into a drainage line and a thicket, and across, I don't know, maybe even into Little Gari or Hofmann's again. But while I try follow them and keep up with them through this horrible thickets, I believe Jamie has a beautiful scene unfolding in the open plains of East Africa.
Of, well, big animals all gathered together, well, mostly big animals, all gathered together enjoying the fresh green grass, and a lot of them drinking, I think, from surrounding puddles. And this is obviously a concentration of nutrients in some way. Giraffe have all gathered together, the Ellies have gathered here, and it creates a really stunning scene. And you know, the iconic lonely tree just for effect. So although giraffe do feed mainly up in the leaves of the trees, it's very common to see them bending over and feeding on the leaves of the bushes on the ground. They're not great. Excuse me, they're not grazing. I have seen a giraffe graze before, no matter what the books say. I have seen a giraffe eat grass before, but they are essentially browsers. So they're grabbing the new shoots and leaves of the tiny young bushes that are growing up in that green patch. Unfortunately, we're a bit far away for me to tell you exactly what it is they're feeding on. So beautiful, though. Will be the wind howling through, which is why I've had to swap hats. Morning, guys. Habari. Hi, guys. There you go. Sound effects of the Mara. It was badly timed on my part because there was a vehicle driving past us, but the wind is a pretty constant thing at the moment. It's going to be interesting to see what the rainy season's like. Somebody's got a floppy ear. This elephant female, damaged cartilage, and she'll probably have a floppy ear for the rest of her life. Makes her very easily identifiable. I think it's Fang's herd back on Djuma. There's a female with 2 floppy ears. Very sweet. There's a lot of very easily identifiable members in Fang's particular herd. Fang herself with her backward-facing trunk. The floppy-eared elephant. There's one with 1 floppy ear, I think. I don't think they've been seen in a long time, though. They will be. They'll return back to Djuma one day. Mom's been enjoying mud bathing, so that's not any kind of skin disease, that's just dried mud. Christy, I have seen, the biggest group of elephants I've seen, I think, would probably number around about 150, maybe 200 elephants. I have never been fortunate enough to see those massive herds of elephants all gathered together in the way that they do in places like Botswana. I have yet to see that particular spectacle, and I would really love to. It would be a really, really incredible sight. I would say that that's been the maximum that I've ever seen in my life, but you get situations where you can have 1,000 elephants all gathered together, and there's some amazing aerial photos of a landscape that is just elephants. It's just elephants absolutely everywhere. You can see she's secreting quite considerably from her temporal gland, often a sign of stress. But in this case, I don't think that's the case. Might just be some kind of heightened emotion. She might have lost one of her herd members for a little bit. Anything like that can trigger secretion, harassment by a male. Now, here's the amazing thing about these big female elephants, and they've recently done a study on it, and it kind of brings us to Lloyd's question in a way. So Lloyd is wondering about how far an elephant can travel without rest, or how long they can travel without rest. It depends very much on the elephant involved. If they've got little ones with them, they will walk easily for 2 or 3 hours, and then the babies will stop, especially little babies. They'll stop and they'll have a nap, and the whole herd will surround them and protect them while they sleep. A big bull elephant can go wandering potentially for days. He'll stop to feed, and then he'll walk some more, and they can cover enormous distances during that time. Because what's interesting about elephants, which brings me to that study that has recently been conducted, is that the adults hardly ever sleep. They go into proper deep sleep states maybe every 2 to 3 days, and even then for very short periods of time. So it's one of the animals that sleeps the least out here. They hardly sleep at all. The babies, that's a different story. Obviously they're growing. I mean, those of you with human babies or friends with human babies, also known as babies in general, you'll know just how much they need to sleep. Toddlers need to sleep, and teenagers, my goodness, they certainly need to sleep. And that's because there's a lot of growing happening. So baby elephants do sleep. And yes, absolutely, while they are asleep, baby elephants will go completely flat, and they will sleep flat like that for an hour at a time. The adults, it's a common fallacy that the adults can't lie down because their internal organs will crush them, and they can't get up under their great bulk. It's not true. They don't lie down as often. They do lie down, though, usually against a termite mound or something like that to make the process of getting up easier, but they can lie down flat on the ground. Most of the time, though, an adult elephant will sleep standing up, and we are lucky enough to see that every now and again, where the head sort of droops forward and their eyelids slowly get heavier and heavier, and then they doze off for a little bit and they go completely still. They'll also do that leaning against a tree. I have had many an elephant encounter where I found one with its forehead resting up against the trunk of a tree, out cold. I've slept like that against the steering wheel a few times, funnily enough, but for different reasons. It is entertaining to watch, though. They cannot lie down for too long, though, because their bulk can cause damage. I think I've got your name right. I think it's Choose Chemistry. You're wondering, as I mentioned, the floppy-eared elephant and Toot Chemistry? Dave, are you hearing what I'm hearing?
I think that's about right.
cute. Cute chemistry. Cute chemistry. I'm so sorry. Choose chemistry? I was like, well, yeah, that's a good life choice. Cute chemistry? My sincerest apology, cute chemistry. We're talking about the floppy-eared young, it's actually a young male off on the right with a damaged cartilage. What could have caused that? An injury most likely sustained while sparring with another young male. I think, given that it is a male, that could easily have been the reason. Sparring or getting into the way of a big bull elephant, or perhaps even just getting a little bit too close to a female with a calf. And that injury was probably caused in that way. It might have been caused by the elephant running in a direction for some reason. I mean, elephants sometimes, despite being the biggest things out here, sometimes elephants are big scaredy cats. Sometimes they panic because of an impala or something's startled them, and they all go racing off without a care in the world, straight through trees, bushes, and woe betide you if you happen to be in their way. So that could be the reason for it. I would suggest a sparring injury. It might even be a birth defect. It might not have grown properly. Hard to tell. And occasionally it looks absolutely fine, and then when you catch it at the right angle, it looks a little droopy. Might have been an injury that happened while it was little. You saw the twisty-tailed elephant. Somebody might have stepped on his ear. Lloyd, very seldom will a male elephant kill a baby. They are very complex creatures. They've got a huge understanding of social dynamics in a way that I don't think we fully grasp yet. And it's very, very uncommon for a bull elephant to kill a baby. And usually the entire herd steps up and sort of starts to get very protective over their little ones. So it's unusual. There are occasional situations where an elephant bull in must has just found itself slightly out of control. The baby wanders too close and ends up being kicked. And even then, I think the situation where the baby's actually killed in that whole process is the exception rather than the rule. It's unusual. And it's not like they will do what predators do, which is kill the babies to bring the females back into estrus. This is lovely. Such a peaceful sighting. Hey, big girl. Is that grass a bit dusty? Try another mouthful. I've been asked this question before, and I think I did research into it, but now it's gone out of my head because I haven't been asked this question in a long time. So LM's wondering about if there's any specific genetic diseases that affect elephants more than others. I don't think so. One of the most unpleasant things for an elephant will be you know how sometimes people are born with genetically just slightly teeth that are more likely to crack or to falter. That occasionally happens with elephants' tusks, and they get abscesses and infections right in the root. They also get arthritis, but mainly in captivity. They have a genetic resistance to something. Jamie's brain is frantically scanning back to the page of the book that she read. It's not working very well. I can't think of any diseases that they are genetically prone to. One thing that will be, it's not a disease at all, it's just something that is connected in my mind to genetics. One thing that does occasionally come through in elephants is albinism. And you get basically a white calf that is born, and that is disadvantageous to them out in this kind of environment because it makes them very vulnerable to the sun, especially their skin obviously, and their eyes as well. It does cause quite bad eye damage because they're staring into the bright sun day in and day out. It also makes them more obvious to predators as well, and that is of course just a recessive gene that occasionally expresses itself. I'll get back to you on that. I'll double check and remember when research what genetic diseases elephants get. I am at this point thoroughly relaxed. I've got my feet up on the passenger seat and really not up to terribly much. Tristan's having to work much harder to follow Shadow and her cub.
Well, Jamie will know exactly where we are when she hears that we're between Shabamu and Treehouse Dam in the drainages here. She's going to probably have a really good laugh at me trying to keep up with Shadow. It is being a nightmare, to say the least, trying to keep up inside here. There's fallen over trees everywhere. The elephants have caused so much damage, and I'm trying to stay with them, and she's literally just skirting Treehouse Dam. Why she couldn't have gone to the dam and over, I'm not sure, but, well, this is typical Leopard. Leopards are like that. Senzo, do you know where she is? No, I've lost her. The last time I saw her was right here. Can't have gone too far. Unless she's changed direction again, which is what she's been doing all day. Where have you gone, girl? That's crazy. We were with her like 2 seconds ago. Jamie says, in response to where I am right now, is "oh gross." Indeed, Jamie, it is. Gross is probably a good word for it. It is not a pleasant place to have followed a leopard, and especially one that just disappears as you guys come back to us. I've managed to keep up with it the whole way, and now all of a sudden it's disappeared. Where have you gone? I can't even hear them either. They were right here somewhere, and they were coming this direction towards us, so I'm not sure where they could have disappeared to, unless they lay down. Interesting. It seems as though they've just disappeared right in front of my eyes. How is that possible? Okay, let's try quickly cross this drainage and go back to where I last saw them, and then hopefully I'll find them lying down there, or... well, then we're just going to leave the area. We've had such a nice time with them already that I'm not going to put Rusty through too much more if I can help it. Is she not down here somewhere in one of these little drainage sections? I have no idea where she went. Like, honestly, she's just disappeared in thin air. Unless she ran or trotted. This is where she was sitting, just on my left-hand side. Careful, Senzo. We're going to go over some rather nasty stuff. Come on, Shadow, where are you? Okay, so... now I'm going to try and see if I can get around here and find where this cat is gone, and see if I can get any sign of it and try and get my way out of here if I can't. And while we do that, let's go back to Miss McCurdy, who, well, is probably also having it far easier than what we are this morning.
So we're still bounding about, and we was trying to find the lions that Jamie had. We saw the male. He was very, very sleepy next to a termite mound. He blended right into the termite mound, and we have yet to find the Angama pride. I don't know where they've gone, but Jamie said they did move into a thickish area, so perhaps they've just decided to sit down for the rest of the day and rest up a little bit. I'm sure they've been moving most of the night. I actually think they walked quite fast. I think what happened is, I think they went a little bit southeast from where we had them last night, because we had some lioness tracks. Can you believe we saw tracks in this one sandy area? It was very exciting. It's one thing that I definitely miss about the Sabi sand, is the tracking. Lots of fun, very rewarding. So we saw all these tracks coming around and then coming in back in this direction. So now I'm thinking back to myself going, that was probably the Angama pride. And if that's the case, they have walked a huge distance. They've really been on the go, so it wouldn't surprise me if they need to rest up. You're wondering if the Angama pride ever visits the Angama lodge. I have not heard of lions being up there. Manu, have you heard of anybody telling tall tales of cats sunbathing, taking a dip in the pool? No, we haven't actually. I don't know if those lions would want to go up there. It's very noisy. They actually, it'd be quite good for them because there's so many wildebeest and zebra around that come through camp every single night. They just live up on the top of the escarpment. But I know I just don't think it's maybe suited. It's obviously a lot more food down here for them. So I haven't heard them going up there. There's nothing stopping them going there at all. So it's sort of just free land in terms of predators. There's a leopard that lives up there though with some cubs, from my understanding. There's a leopard that killed a wildebeest. Scott actually got some footage of her. So that's what roams up on top, and then lots of hyenas and jackals and the tree hyraxes that start calling from about 2 o'clock in the morning all the way to just before sunup. That's always nice. It's a strange noise. I'll have to record it for all of you one day and then play it on Game Drive just so you can sort of hear what it sounds like. It would probably scare a lot of you if you heard it for the first time and had no idea what it was. It's not a pleasant sound. Ah, wonderful. Well, we're going to keep trying our luck around here, and what we have seen though is we've got 2 ground hornbills. What is one pecking at on the right? And those stopped now. I thought that maybe it had found something it was trying to pry open. I've still got that sighting that Tristan had with the hornbills, basically barbarically killing another hornbill. Pretty crazy. Oh, thank you. Is that a little gift? No, I'm just going to hold on to it. I just wanted to show you what I was about to eat before I ate it. That's exactly what happened. Right, on that happy note, let's go to Tristan, who's been bundu bashing, but it seems as though he's got a clearing in front of him.
Well, I do now. I'm on the road. I just don't know how we lost Shadow where we were. It was literally, we were right there with her, and she's just poof, gone like that, with a cub as well. And you would have thought the way that they were moving that we would have seen them and would have been able to find them here, but I can't see any further sign of her. I don't know where she's gone at all, so I'm just slowly kind of going down Treehouse Dam Road and just trying to see if she came out, but there's no tracks coming out. I went to where I last saw her. She wasn't lying down there, so I have honestly no idea where she's gone, unless she's flown or she's decided to walk in a completely different direction, which I suppose is also hugely possible given its shadow, and she has been doing that all morning. She's kind of been like zigzagging the whole time. I honestly don't know how she's given us the slip. I really don't. It wasn't that thick, and we had her, and we just took our eyes off her for about a second and she was gone. So I don't know, must be there somewhere. I would try one more time down this road, but at the end of the day we have had a crazy good sighting with her this morning. We've really been spoiled. We've got to spend a long period with her, watch the cub for a while, so you know, if we don't find her again, it's not the end of the world. It's just would be nice to know where she goes, because obviously for the sort of for the drives and for continuation of trying to follow where she is, it's always nice just to know where you leave her and where she was heading before you kind of just stop and go somewhere else. So it would be nice just to double check. I just want to come back towards Treehouse Dam in case she's decided to come this way for a drink, and maybe she's decided that she'll come along the drainage and that's why I've missed her. But I honestly believe that she's got to have been there somewhere. We just for some reason haven't been able to spot her. Let's just double check that there's no leopards sitting at Treehouse Dam quickly. No, it doesn't look like it. So she hasn't come this way. So Treehouse Dam is pretty quiet after last night's festivities of Shadow and Cub, Hosanna, Styx Pride. It's all a lot more sort of relaxed this morning. It's just the Egyptian geese and a couple blacksmith lapwings and grey go-away birds, the usuals that are hanging around here, and no sign of Hosanna that I can see at all. There's no tracks that I've picked up, unless maybe he went down this drainage towards Weaver's Nest side. I certainly haven't found anything at this side of the world. So let's go back one more time along that road. Like I say, if we don't have any luck, we don't have any luck, but it's worth just checking the road one more time just to see if she's going. So Tayla wants to know if Shadow potentially got into an energy drink stash that Tayla has. So Tayla is a big fan of energy drinks and has them fairly regularly. and she knows they're not very good for her, but well, it's just what it is. And she wants to know if Shadow got stuck into them, and that's maybe why she's grown wings and flown away. Potentially, I would imagine that's probably very, very possible, Tayla, because honestly, I have no idea how that leopard has just lost us. Really, really, I don't. It's a mystery to me still right now. I'm baffled that we've lost her. And the more time we're away from her, the longer it is, and the harder it will be to find her again, because if she's zigzagging, it's going to be almost impossible unless she pops out on the road, which probably what Shadow will do, given that's sometimes how she is. She didn't get her name for nothing, that's for sure. Okay, so from anywhere from here is potentially where she could have popped out. It was just in front that we lost her over there, so she couldn't have come the nice easy route, which would have been through this section here where we would have followed her no problem. There wouldn't have been too much to worry about. Instead, she took us through the really nice difficult route, which is a Shadow special. That's how she likes to do things. So that mound is where they were. They came down from the mound on my right hand side, so they should theoretically have popped out right where I am right now, but I do not see a single track of them coming out here. Of course, they might have crossed now since we've been here, but where are you? Hiding in plain sight. This is how they do it. Proud cat mama, yes, leopards are always considered to be this elusive. They are very tactical in their approach to life and the way that they move around. They definitely know exactly what they're doing, where they're going, what they're doing it for, and how to lose people quickly. I've seen leopards that don't want to be seen, the most relaxed leopards you can imagine, that just don't want to be seen, disappear exactly like this. So I mean, we've been following her all morning. She didn't trot, she didn't run, she didn't try and get out of the way very quickly. She literally just meandered off, and as we went around to a place where we could cross, well, then she was gone. Okay, I'm going to try just one more look where I last saw her from this side. I'm not going to go far in. It's just going to be a quick little, sort of have a little look here and see if there's any sign. If there's nothing, then I'm going to just leave it, and that's going to be the end of that. There we go. So, theoretically, according to our calculations that Senzo and I made, it would be right to this, my right hand side now is where if she did lie down, she's lay down there. So what I need to do is just quickly get around this mound one more time and just stop and look carefully, but so while I'm puttering around slowly and very, very methodically, I believe Jamie Patterson has, well, she's got her foot down slightly, a little bit more than what I have, and is motoring her way around the Mara.
Right, so, first of all, I sympathise with Tristan because I know exactly what that block's like. Second of all, I found something very, very rare, and we're going to creep up on it nice and quietly. I'm so excited. I'll show you in a second. Hello, Zebs. Sorry, Zebs. We'll have a look at you in a moment. But there's something we hardly see these days. Why are you hiding in the mitre drain? Not you. I have found the only 3 remaining wildebeest in the Mara Triangle. The only 3. They departed at great haste this particular migration season, and they've pretty much left the triangle completely. We've got 1 remaining, one female and 2 youngsters. There you go, a rare sight indeed in these parts. Tayla says she found 5 yesterday. I wonder if the lions, that's what the lions ate. Seems a little unfair, really, considering there's a whole ton of zebra around and they ate the only 2 out of 5. 40% of our remaining wildebeest population in the northern part of the triangle. Is her horn really weird, or is it just me? Yeah, it is. It was broken and healed at some point, and it's backwards facing. Here we go, little ones with their budding set of horns. just had to show you. These things are exciting these days. The rest of the wildebeest have gone back towards Tanzania, and then there's still a few of them on the other side of the river. And by a few, I mean a good couple of thousand. So it's not that the migration is over yet. Where is that? We also have really interesting information about the wildebeest migration. Now I'm trying to find it and I can't find it. Mr. P, yeah, that is absolutely the case. Those wildebeest do indeed look fat and healthy. Healthy, happy, and in fact perhaps all the happier for staying in the triangle, where there's still plenty of good food around. I am being slightly melodramatic. I'm not sure whether or not you picked up on that, but I am being slightly melodramatic. There are always wildebeest that stay behind. Not all of them migrate. You do get local herds that hang out in the triangle and throughout the Mara throughout the year. The loiter herds in the conservancies as well. Ah, Mr. P, that's what happened. So she lost her passport. The other one is, well, one of them is not hers. It's very unusual for wildebeest to have twins, so I'm pretty sure that one of those calves does not belong to her. So obviously she lost the birth certificate of the one, she lost her own passport, and the other one's passport went through the wash. It happens. It happens. It's quite a long way to get to the embassy. Natural? Yes, the wildebeest herds will return to the triangle. Will they return this year? We're not 100% sure. It's possible, but unlikely that they will return. But they're quite unpredictable in their movements. They go backwards and forwards, as we've seen at the river crossings. They don't always pick one direction and all go in it at exactly the same time, and the migration is made up of several different herds altogether. So yes, it's possible, but it most likely will only be next year. The wildebeest are still on the other side of the river, so we will be moving around that area as well. They're still surrounding the 5 musketeers, the 5 cheetah boys, and quite a few of the lion prides a bit further to the south. It just so happens that there's not that many left here. I quite miss them serenading me to sleep. I have to learn, you'd think it would be muscle memory by now, to park on the side of the road. I always stop myself in the middle and then I always have to move. Morning!
Hello, how are you?
Fine, and you? Hi guys. Good. I'm not sure where those lions went, do you know?
They say that there are someone there, but
I think they've stopped somewhere here, yeah.
Do you remember why they killed the buffalo another day?
Oh, that's towards that side.
Oh, that side.
Okay.
And then there's 2 rhinos, you know, next to that kind of a street that next to Olololo.
Oh yes, yeah.
There are 2 of them that come to another street like on the other side on your left.
Oh great, thank you so much. Fantastic. Alright, enjoy guys, yes you too. Morning! Unfortunately, Rhino's just beyond where I think we'll be able to get to before the end of the drive. Even at my speediest, I don't think we'll get there before the end of the sunrise safari, but we know that they move around the lugger close to Olololo Gate. And we always set out to find them if we can. I was always taught that you must always start things as you intend to finish them. So I suppose we should stop and look at some zebra. Hello, pretty things. I've come to the conclusion, having observed lots and lots and lots of zebra, believe it or not, over the course of the migration, that some zebra are prettier than others. And they're all pretty, don't get me wrong, they're all lovely to look at. But there are just some that have this, I don't know what it is, I think it's the sharp contrast and the balance of the white and the black of their stripes. Marco, have you counted stripes for us yet? Have we come to a conclusion as to how many stripes a zebra has? Next question. Does that little stripe on the one on the right's backside count as a stripe? Or is it a blotch? I think it's a stripe. What do you think, Dave? Definitely a stripe. And that's the one at the join of its back leg and its belly? Is that a stripe? That too. Okay, Dave says that's a stripe as well. Do you count the joined stripes as separate stripes or one stripe? Next question. I'm very keen to hear your feedback on the number of stripes. Poor Tayla. I feel so guilty because she set off to find the Angamas this morning. We bumped into them, then we lost them, and then she can't find them again. Let's go see how the search is treating her.
Guilty? Guilty for what, Jamie? Or for who? You don't need to feel guilty. It's my luck today. That's okay though. It's so beautiful out here anyway. It doesn't really matter too much if we don't see any cats. But I'm going to show you some vultures. I don't know what the vultures are eating, but it stank this morning. It was revolting. Let's see. I'm just going to do the smell test as we drive, because I refuse to inhale the scent of rotting carcass. So once it gets too pungent, I'm stopping, and that's the view we're having, I'm afraid. Not too bad here. I think we've got the wind on our side, which would be great. Oh, we go. We are safe too. Now there's a variety of vulture all sitting about. I don't know what it is. It must have been a wildebeest that they killed. Some of them are standing on the carcass now on the left. You can see a few of them. Looks like they're trying to still eat it. There's lots of vultures still coming in. You can see them bouncing on top of it. They're hopefully all on their way down. See them hopping about there. A lot of them have already fed. They were feeding at first light, so I don't know why I never noticed this carcass in this little lugger before. Whee, there's one coming in for a landing. That was very good. 10 out of 10 for you. But we definitely smelt it this morning. We had that sighting with the Angamas versus the buffalo. We were here in this pretty much this exact same spot, and we didn't smell it. Perhaps we were lucky and the wind was always in our favor, and we were just unlucky briefly this morning. Well, I was moaning about the smell, wasn't I? But there they are, tearing about, eating all the little bits that's left. There doesn't look like there's too much left, but the vultures and the marabou storks, because they look like they're on their way into, that'll be enough for them. But it seems as though it's not just me having no luck this morning. Unfortunately, I've passed it on to Tristan. Let's go see how he feels about it.
I have lost Shadow completely. I have no idea where she went, so that's the end of that. We're going to leave her to herself this morning. I tried one more time to go back to where I had her. I found exactly where we left her, but her tracks head towards where we went round, so I have no idea. I must have just got round slower than what was needed, and maybe she crossed over the road and is headed south towards Little Gowrie already and has crossed over. So I'm going to just leave it there, and we'll slowly meander our way home. It's that time of the morning, unfortunately. The morning's gone by so fast today. I think it's because there's been so much happening from the Mara, from this side. It's just been a great drive all in all. We've had lots of things, and it's been very pleasant to be out here, and I hope you've all enjoyed it as well. So what I'm going to do from here, I think, is just slowly go towards Weaver's Nest. From Weaver's Nest, head northwards. Maybe I'll get lucky and find the giraffe that we saw just now. But here is some Nyala, which we can have a look at before we get round towards the giraffe. So there is our Nyalas that are just sitting, and I'm surprised these guys are where they are. Generally they follow the drainage line that runs towards Treehouse Dam, and they walk along that. Not too often that we see them out and about on the sort of open clearings, and luckily they've only appeared now, because otherwise I think Shadow would have spotted them as she was going. And even though she's come off a carcass, there will still be that opportunistic cat-like character, which would mean that they might just go after one of these, and it would be a really big meal for her, but something that she could do with. And the little cub, I'm sure, would be quite happy to actually get some breakfast, not that now that Mom had finished all the other breakfast that they already had organized. So I'm pretty sure she would have hunted them, but luckily these in Nyala came out a little later, and they're safe for now. interesting, they're all boys as well, all young boys. So most of these, well, 2 of them have just been kicked out by mom, and then they're being accompanied by 2 bigger individuals that are slowly kind of probably shadowing them and just showing them the ropes, and will help them learn how to be a big Nyala. You'll find male Nyalas do this quite often, because generally it's only one that will mate with the females, and then the males will just form bachelor groups on the fringes of those females and will compete for mating when it comes available, but otherwise are pretty happy just to be in these small groups together. I'm just going to go forward for you, Senzo, because it's going to be much better. There we go. That's a little bit better. Now we can actually see our Nyalas nicely out in the clearing. And they're such a beautiful animal with those long shaggy coats and white dots and stripes and markings all over them. I really do enjoy them. I think, to me, they're a very exotic animal, and I just like the way that they look. Especially their legs. Their legs are very cool. See how when the big male turns, everybody scatters. So the biggest one was the one on the right. Now, unfortunately, like I was alluding to just now, it is that time where we are going to have to start saying goodbye. It is, unfortunately, the end of our sunrise safari. It's been an action-packed one, from lions to leopards to elephants and, well, everything in between. It's been a bit of something for everybody today, which is really the best way it is, and it just goes to show that when Mara and Sabi come together, it really is an amazing thing to witness, and it's amazing how diverse it can be between the 2 locations, and also just the scenery from both is completely different. So they really do go hand in hand, and it's been such a wonderful thing to be a part of this joining of these 2 areas and showing them to all of you. But I'm sure from Jamie and the bouncing off the walls Tayla McCurdy, given that she always is bouncing off the walls generally, we'll have to send her some energy drinks. Myself and Senzo, it's been an absolute pleasure, like I said. I hope that you've all enjoyed it. I know Megan and Lou have enjoyed it from FC, so we'll see you all on the Sunset Safari.